We have a surprising Blue Jays free agency update to go over today as a new report has dropped revealing some new and interesting information surrounding Anthony Santander and other free agents when it comes to the Toronto Blue Jays. We're going to break down those new reports and discuss what this means going forward, as it now has new and major implications surrounding what the Jays are going to do in regards to a contract surrounding these guys. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, folks. Before we get into it, a quick reminder, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, about 70% of you who are watching aren't subscribed. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also, thank you very much. We just hit 15,000 subscribers. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. The Jays, it's been a rough offseason. It's been an annoying offseason, I understand, and it's been pretty bad, but they just made a big signing of Jeff Hoffman. But again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for helping us hit 15,000 subscribers, even if sometimes you guys don't agree with some of the, the takes and the Jays are bad. Thank you guys for your support nonetheless. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to go over today, and a new report has dropped, and we finally have some new information surrounding Anthony Santander and other free agents, and it's been pretty radio quiet, radio silent on the Anthony Santander front. We heard reports that he was supposed to sign last week. It didn't happen. The longer this goes, I like to think that maybe the Jays and Anthony Santander are working towards a contract, but nonetheless, we have some new information dropping, and it is very intriguing, and let's start with it right here. So Anthony Santander and Jack Flaherty are open to short-term offers. As the offseason free agent market has developed with spring training looming just over the horizon, Ken Rosenthal suggests that some of the major free agents still available are weighing the possibility of turning towards short-term deals with higher AAVs, similar to Blake Snell, Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, and Jordan Montgomery. Per Rosenthal, outfielder Anthony Santander and righty Jack Flaherty are both now open to considering that sort of deal. Also confirmed previous reports that indicated the camp of first baseman Pete Alonso, 3-year offer from the Mets. But this is pretty big now because all offseason long, we've been hearing Anthony Santander wants a 5-year deal at $100 million. The Jays offered 4 years at $82 million. They're trying to be somewhere in the middle, whether that's, 4 years, $92 million, whether that's, 5 years, a bit less. There is some sort of middle ground hoping to be made here, but this new report changes the landscape a little bit because if they're open to these short-term deals, then now there's a lot of things to look at when it comes to this team because this becomes very interesting now. And again, it is very intriguing. Again, Santander and Jack Flaherty are open to short-term deals. So whether that looks in the span of 2 years, $65 million, because he's requesting a longer term, 5 years, $20 million AAV. So, 5 years, $100 million. The Jays have offered, 21-ish million, 22-ish million over 4 years, according to reports. So if they want to go out and they want to offer him, let's say, 3 years for 80 million, something with a 3 years, 90 million, which would give you up to 30 million a year, which I don't think is going to happen. But if you're the Jays, even a 2-year deal could make some sense here. 2 year, $70 million deal. That's a lot of money. Is he worth 35 million a year? Probably not. But you have a lot of those question marks are taken away now. The question marks of his longevity, the question marks of, even though he is, just turned 30 years old, they're going to turn 30 years old as he approaches this upcoming season. A lot of the big question marks on a short-term deal are answered because of the fact that it's a shorter-term deal, and it makes things very interesting for the Toronto Blue Jays. Here we have some fans coming out and saying Santander in a 2-year deal, sign the contract, higher. And again, you can see in the quote tweet there, they're open to deals with higher annual values. So what that means, as we all know, we've seen it with Blake Snell, we've seen it with Matt Chapman before he signed the 5-year deal this offseason with the San Francisco Giants. Players are becoming more and more open to these shorter, higher AAV deals. And this works out perfectly for the Jays because the Jays' future at this moment is a little bit uncertain. I made a video earlier today. All signs are pointing to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. signing with the Blue Jays long-term, but that's not done yet. Bichette is a pending UFA like Vladdy after the season. So if you can lock down Santander to a 2 or 3 year deal, then things are starting to look very, very good for the Toronto Blue Jays, because you have a couple years to see how they do. If he loves it here, he can extend beyond that if his performance continues to be what it was last season, hitting, over 40 home runs. And if not, then at the very least, you're on the hook for, $70-ish million. And right now, let me know down below if you're watching. Of course you're watching, but let me know down below, what is the maximum amount you'd be willing to give Anthony Santander per year? Or even just, what kind of contract would you want? Let's say a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal. What's the amount? 2 years, 70, 2 years, 60. I mean, 2 years, 60 is still $10 million more AAV than what he was looking for in that 5-year deal. I don't think 2 years, 70 is really on the table. I think 255 could work, 260. And as you start to look at how it would make sense for the Jays, it would be very interesting. And again, Toronto Blue Jays target Santander, makes big pivot in free agency. The Jays have offered a 4-year deal, but they may be able to get him for less now. And it's not less in the sense of annual value. The AAV will be higher. You'll be paying him more money per year, but you're going to be doing that over less years, meaning that if the contract somehow turns out bad or the Jays go in a different direction, you will not have to be stuck with that deal in years 3, 4, 5, depending how long the deal is, because again, you'll be in good shape. The 30-year-old Santander, again, he hit 235 with 44 homers and 102 RBIs last year. He's a lifetime 246 hitter, 28 homers or more in each of his last 3 seasons, and has brought in at least 89 runs, RBIs, of course. He would like having him as a 4 hitter and your 2, 3, 4 being whether some order of Vladdy, Bo, and probably Bo, Vladdy, and Anthony Santander, depending who you want to put in your 2 spot. You usually put your best hitter in the 2 spot. So let's say Vladdy, Santander, Bo, or Vladdy, Bo, Santander, whatever it ends up being. Probably Bo in the 4 hole. Either way, that is an extremely good and finally gives Vladdy some more protection. Yes, Bo Bichette has been that protection. He's been fine, but Bo is not a power hitter. If you have a guy who can hit and mash for power, who hit 44 home runs right behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr., teams are going to have to pitch to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because then if you don't, you're risking walking him to a guy who can change and make a game 2-0 just like that in Anthony Santander. They need a power hitter. They need a thumper immediately to put in behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And I'm sure Vladdy will be more willing to extend, be more excited about this team if they go out and they get a masher like Anthony Santander. Will the contract age great? Probably not if it's over 5 years, because then he's turning 35 years old. Things are starting to look a little bit rough there. But that doesn't really matter. You're not playing this deal for, years in the future. Whether it's a 5-year, $100 million deal or a 2-year, $60 million deal, whatever it ends up being, you have to make this deal. You have to make it happen. You have no other choice. If you don't execute on this, you're going to be in very, very rough shape. We also have a new update from Ari Alexander. Someone asked, hey, are the Blue Jays close on anything? Santander seemed close a week ago. They're still in on Santander for sure. Working on gathering and vetting more info to report soon on that front. So we should get another report. Ari Alexander is very reliable with this stuff, but we should get a update soon on another update on Santander. Hopefully he signs soon. But if you look at, again, I use this a lot because it gives a pretty good example of it. It's just a clean way to show all the players. Basically, you can take their projected Z-WARs, for what they are and take them with a grain of salt, of course. But you put in Anthony Santander there in left field, that WAR jumps up to, let's say, 3.5 to 4. Of course, that includes everybody. Your team is looking like solid. Santander, Verso, Springer. Hopefully Springer rounds back a little bit. And then if Springer bounces back, you have Andres Jimenez, a very good addition. You have Jeff Hoffman, who's not in, this graph hasn't been updated to that yet. The team is looking very good if you get one more starter and even one more, maybe even a Yoan Moncada. I've been clamoring about it. Anthony Santander, Yoan Moncada, you go out. You have one of the better, relievers in baseball in Jeff Hoffman now. You have a really good bullpen now. Make this team good and make it good again, because they're a couple pieces away from being a really competitive club in an AL East that has started to be a bit weaker with Juan Soto leaving despite the Yankees making all those moves. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Tons of news coming out. We're going to keep you up to date with all of it. So make sure to smash that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you all again for helping us hit 15,000 subscribers. It means the world to myself. Cheers.